play for the ACC championship and still be very much alive for the college football playoff. The Gamecock game really won't have much to do with that because I don't believe Clemson at 10-2 even is an at-large team.
No.
So, I think they're going to have to win the ACC.
They'd be close.
They will be.
They'd be one of those first 3 teams out.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be sitting there with Tennessee and, I don't know, BYU or whoever loses the Big 12 title game. So they'll probably be a 2-loss team.
Speaking of the BYU game, Arizona State hosting them tomorrow. I watched this morning Josh Pate's interview from yesterday with Kenny Dillingham. Have you seen it yet?
I have not.
Okay. I did not realize. Do you know how old he is?
Kenny Dillingham's got to be 36?
34.
He's 34. Yeah, he is very young. He is a rising star in this profession.
Listen, he is going to get that thing going.
Oh, absolutely. He already has.
He has, yeah.
This is a team that won 3 games last year and lost a big chunk of the roster.
He reminds me.
They were picked last.
He reminds me a lot of Shane Beamer. His energy and enthusiasm are infectious. Now, Shane, of course, loves this city and very much wanted this job. Kenny's got a leg up on most people. I say most because there's a few that are at their alma mater, Kirby Smart looking in your direction and a few others. But he went to Arizona State. He's from the greater Phoenix area. So the
place he wants to be.
Yeah. And just listening to it, it was great. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that game. And that's sneakily the second best. In fact, I'm going to call that not just the second best game of the day tomorrow. I'll step it up a notch and call it the 1B game of tomorrow.
It's the second most important game in terms of how the college football playoff. This is an elimination game.
Yeah.
This is a playoff game in its own right.
I mean, it might be pound for pound more important than Ohio State, Indiana. Indiana at 11-1, should they lose tomorrow, and they are near 2 touchdown underdogs, is probably still going to get the benefit of the doubt so long as they do to Purdue what they should do to Purdue next week, which is do what they've done to most schools this year, beat the crap out of them. And again, I give Indiana full credit, all but one game. Michigan, they are beating the pants off of everybody they play, and that does matter. But tomorrow, that game, but that game out in Tempe is a big deal.
And they're getting up for it too. So a close friend of mine lives out, he works in Phoenix, works at a brewery out in Phoenix. And at the beginning of the year, I remember we were on the phone, we were catching up, and he goes, "Man, I'm thinking about buying Arizona State football season tickets." He's a college football fan, he doesn't have an allegiance per se. So he was like, I might just bandwagon Arizona State. The tickets are for a season tickets $75. I'm like, dude, do it. They're not going to be any good, but it'll be fun to go to games.
Right.
And he didn't buy them. And then I was on the phone with him about 2 nights ago, and I said, dude, the second biggest game in college football is happening in your backyard. You going to go? He goes, I was going to actually until I saw that the average ticket's $350. I said, I missed the boat on that one. I really missed the boat at the beginning of the season. I said, buddy, you could have had that for so cheap.
He could have sold his 2.
He fumbled the bag, man.
And paid for the entire season more than likely. So.
Yeah, easily.
Speaking of that area, our good friend Langston Moore lived out there for a bit when he played for the Cardinals. So we'll touch on the importance of that game with him, but certainly his thoughts on Senior Day, his memories. We'll try to make sure maybe we should play some sad piano music behind it while he's talking about his last game.
We can play the song "Memory" from Cats.
You can just hum it along while he's talking. You want to do that?
Or we can just play the Barry Manilow version of it, which is a fantastic rendition of the song. Jay Phillips.
I don't know if
real Fanilows know.
I'll take your
real Fanilows like myself. No,
my mom loved Barry Manilow, man, but
she's got great taste.
I can't say that I could. I told you, I think I know 2, maybe 3 I know 3 Barry Manilow tunes: Mandy, Copacabana, and the American Bandstand theme. What am I missing?
So Copacabana. There's Can't Smile.
American
Without
Bandstand.
You.
American Bandstand.
There's Bandstand Boogie too. They're 2 different ones.
Okay,
and ironically, those are the 2 songs of his that are real skips. They're not great. Actually, those are the duds.
All right.
If that's all you've listened to, then I highly suggest you diversify your Manilow palette.
All right. I'll see what I can do. Langston on the other side of the break. Jay and Elijah on a big day here at Columbia Craft. Their 7th anniversary party getting underway officially at 5 o'clock. Come say hey, have a pint or 2 with us. A beautiful day in Columbia. This is the Postgame Show.
Ah, yes. Thanksgiving next week. You know what that means?
Turkey.
That means, yes, lots of turkey, food, family. Most importantly, Jay Phillips.
Football.
Football.
Yes.
The 3 F's of Thanksgiving. And you know what? My friends over at Prize Picks going to help you cash in on your football knowledge, help you flex on your family a little bit at the Thanksgiving table because they are offering a free square, my friends. Yes, a free square on Thanksgiving for the Dolphins-Packers game. And that square, Tyreek Hill, more than 0.5 receiving yards, meaning he just has to get a receiving yard, and you can cash in. Get a receiving yard from Tyreek Hill plus another projection for another game. And if you're correct on at least one more of those projections, you can win real cash. Look, Prize Picks is my absolute favorite. I'm having a blast with it, not just football, but basketball, hockey as well. And you can do it too. Download the app today. Use promo code 1075GAME, 1075GAME, and get $50 instantly in your first $5 bet.
"19 minutes after 3 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon. A fantastic day in the capital city. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell. Lee's out here making sure we're doing well. Jeff is out here. Adam Vance is here. Adam Vance has his Sound and Images monogrammed North Face quarter zip, but one thing he does not have is the Adam Vance monogrammed lampshade from the party lot
that he wears on his head.
I mean,
that's when you know the party has reached peak partiness.
I'm ready for
that man runs around with that lampshade on his head, and it's got his initials on it.
And you think it seems like for audio visual. No.
No.
That means Adam Vance. I don't know if Langston Moore has ever run around a party lot or maybe an NFL locker room with a lampshade on his head. Nobody's going to stop him.
Part of a rookie ritual, maybe.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, what? That's that. You know what? You just
Maybe
led me
it
somewhere.
was a rookie ritual.
As we welcome on our very good friend from Charleston, South Carolina Gamecock D tackle, team captain, draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, longtime NFLer, husband, father, barbecue aficionado across the DFW, softball expert, and so many more things. Children's book author. He is Langston Moore. Happy Thanksgiving week, kind of officially. We're inside of a week. How are you?
Oh man, I'm getting warmed up like it's Christmas week. You know, I'm making my list, checking it twice, but it's all food. So, you know, one of my favorite times of the year. Gluttony. Food. Eat.
What I remember Deuce telling a story, his rookie season in Philadelphia. Ray Rhodes was their head coach. And Deuce tells the story so well because Ray apparently enjoyed a Skol or a Copenhagen in the locker room or in the office. And there was also a ritual of rookies having to buy the team a whole bunch of chicken from some joint in Philadelphia. I don't know the name of the restaurant. And Ray said, Deuce says that Ray one time looked at him and said, "Hey, I'm serious." And Deuce does it like with Ray having a big old dip in his mouth. I won't try to do that.
Call that a hog leg.
But he said, "Hey, you better go get that chicken." And then Deuce kind of knew it was for real. So what was the biggest rookie hazing ritual, if you will, that the Cincinnati Bengals pulled on one young Langston Moore?
No wiser words have been said by a head coach. Go get that damn chicken, because I'm going to tell you, don't nothing make these dudes more upset than getting on that away trip and don't have that $400, $500 order of Popeyes that don't even exist in Ohio. You got to drive down 75, which is the same 75 that goes all the way to Atlanta, and some place called like Campbell, Kentucky. And somehow I got to get down there, get this chicken, bring it back hot, get on the plane, make sure I got my playbook. I'm just telling you, feel sorry for me as an NFL guy that had to go through this. And oh, don't forget, that was Saturday morning. On Friday morning, which was kind of like, no, Friday morning was kind of like Thursday evening for football guys, because, you know, we still got one more work day on Saturday. So Friday morning, you got to bring biscuits. You got to bring McGriddles. You got to bring, I think McGriddles was the thing because these dudes didn't want biscuits. I try to be slick. I was like, man, I go over here to Hardee's, get the 2 for $2 biscuits. Nah, I want a $7 McGriddle. And we want 10 of them each. And there's 8 of us in here. Like, what are we talking about right now? So it's always evolved around food, but luckily for me, I figured out, and this is something that I've had the benefit of my whole life. Like, if you can kind of play when you're young, whether you be a rookie or a freshman in high school or even a guy in the NFL, like, they might razz you for a little bit, but after a while, they'll be like, man, shut up, man. Come to the back of the bus with me. Come kick it with me, man, because we need you. We the Cincinnati Bengals. We ain't got a whole bunch of dudes who can really play. So, you know, they let me slide a little bit. And then some guys who actually weren't, like, playing, they made them go get the chicken and let me live a little bit. So it worked.
That's good. That's good. And hey, as long you know, you survived, so that's good. And you got to see parts of Kentucky you never even heard of. So I mean, listen, who doesn't want to go see rural Kentucky, man?
Jay, trying to figure out where the Chick-fil-A is. Luckily, they finally built a Chick-fil-A in one of the downtown malls. And by the time I left Cincinnati, then we wanted to get on a health kick and stop eating fried food. So shout out to Chip Morton, who's over there with the shrimp staff with Coach Day. I'm sure he has those guys on the no fried food diet the night before. It used to be, eat all the calories you want. Then we started getting healthy the night before. And I don't know, maybe they started winning football games. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was the no fried food. I don't know.
Well, that's one story to another here, and I do love fried food. I'm just going to go ahead and admit that. But you've told us before. We had Brewer in the house the other day for his Tuesday visit. We have you on Fridays, and we're grateful to both of you. But you've told us before, but it's always worth for folks that have never heard the stories of how Lou Holtz treated Senior Day and what you remember of your own Senior Day and how Lou Holtz tried to make everybody act.
Lou Holtz's number one deal is he hates Senior Day because, you know, the guys you're relying on, the seniors, they're all distracted all week. They've been trying to get the ticket allotment. And then, of course, when Senior Day comes, they're all out there and they're crying. As Lou Holtz's famous quote is, I hate Senior Day because by the time, you know, it's halftime, you look up, everybody's been crying and we down by 21 points. And so it's all because everybody's nostalgic and all this different type of stuff. So One, I'm glad we've gotten a little bit smarter because there used to be a time when we had that orange crust schedule. Like, there's some guys I know who ain't never won senior. I don't think I won my senior day because of that infamous schedule, that murderer's row. But that's nobody's fault but our own. We could play football. We just decided not to do it that day for whatever reason. But one of the things Lou Holtz would always do was he would always, on senior day, those guys had to get up and leave in front of like the entire team, exit the locker room. And so being on both sides of that, every year as a freshman, you start to see you getting closer and closer to being the guy that stands up. But it's like, all right, senior, this is your last time. Walk out that door. And then once the door shut, Lou's like, we don't have nobody. There's nobody coming. We don't have anybody. I don't know if we're going to win next year. And he's telling everybody this right before we're actually getting out. So he's priming you for the spring, priming you. And again, just the evil genius, the evil just knowing when to hit the thumb screws on you, Lou. Was perfect how he'd always set that up every year. So now me, for myself, my senior year, it was all true. It's like this dude knew what he was talking about. I was a mumbling, stumbling, blurbering all over. I thought it looked good in my little picture. I saw the picture the other day. I was like, "What that?" I turned it upside down. I was like, "Don't even." I look terrible, man. This dude calls himself a football player. His face is all snotty and red. Like, come on, man. But it is a tough deal. But I think one of the big things, especially for these guys, because unlike me, I pretty much knew that was pretty much our last game because, we started off hot that senior year and then we didn't end off so hot. These guys have been working hard and obviously gotten to themselves an opportunity where they can get to 9 wins and then hopefully with a bowl game, possibly you might get to 10. And that's something, again, I tell people all the time. That's nothing you turn your nose up because in my whole life, I've been to the NFL. I've been to, I played in a lot of different leagues. I've, whatever it is. I've never won 10 double-digit games. I've never won double-digit games. And it's hard. It's hard. And that's why Preston Thorne walks around here with that Somerville smugness because they figured it out. They won those championships and all those different types of things. And so when you get an opportunity to do that, my proudest years are the years I went 8-4, 9 and whatever, because there is no guarantee that you're going to get those double-digit years. So when you get those in your crosshairs, get that senior day deal, but focus on what's coming up next for you too.
Langston Moore is with us here for the rest of the 3 o'clock hour. We'll get his take on the Wofford game coming up tomorrow afternoon. Some things going on around the NFL. What a heck of a display last night in Cleveland. How often did he play in something like that? That was fun to watch.
Man, I forgot what snow looked like. I saw that last night. It made me nostalgic. We're talking about senior day nostalgia. I got nostalgia seeing all that snow. Goodness gracious.
So we'll do that and more with our good friend Langston joining us here on a beautiful Football Friday in Columbia, South Carolina. Again, we're at Columbia Craft, where about an hour and a half away from the start of their 7th anniversary bash right here. Again, Green, Pulaski, UG in the South Vista. Beer, music, food. I mean, that's life.
What more do you want?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, seriously.
If you're asking for anything more, it's a you problem.
And again, a fantastic day to be outside and enjoy it. It's the post-game show on a Football Friday. Palmetto Propane's been a family-owned company delivering propane to homes and businesses across South Carolina for more than 60 years. In fact, we're at 65 years, 1959. I can do that, man.
Better than I could.
Thank you very much. Professional installation, exceptional service, premium gas logs, outdoor fire features. They are proud to be South Carolina's leading full-service propane and fuel provider. And, of course, now that the holidays are upon us, and I talked about the fireplaces, getting your family and friends around that beautiful fire, always been a holiday tradition. Let that continue. Palmetto Propane is ready to help you and your family upgrade your fireplace, propane or natural gas, premium gas logs, and, again, complete installation and service. Get in to a Palmetto Propane hearth and patio home store showroom near you. See and feel what these gas fireplaces look and feel like. All right, it's that easy. Batesburg, Lexington, West Columbia, Aiken, Augusta, and always online at palmettopropane.com. We're inside a week till Thanksgiving. Welcome back into the postgame show. It's Football Friday edition. Jay and Elijah out here. Lee's out here. Jeff's out here. Terry's running master control. He's not feeding us the same kind of off-air liners that he typically does.
Yeah, he doesn't said you're hot yet.
No. I don't know what I did wrong.
Am I going to have to tell you?
Nah, I'm good.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. I already
if you
did.
need the affirmation.
No, I
I'm here to give it to you.
I'm very confident. As Terry knows, I'm very self-aware. So I'm good. Thanks, though. I appreciate you. Langston Moore joining us as well. He's back home in the DFW. Will you be back in South Carolina for the holiday feasting, or will this all be done Texas style next week?
Man, we're going to be here in Texas because Junior will be coming home from college from the war or something like that. No, she's just been in DC for the last.
I'm sure she's going to appreciate you calling her Junior.
That's right. Thank God she doesn't listen to radio, especially FM radio. It's not like digital, you know what I'm saying? Even though we do have a great app on 107.5. I don't think she even knows that. But no, she's coming home, and so we're planning the feast now. So like I told you earlier when you asked me what I was doing, I'm planning my list, trying to whittle it down to what do I want? Do I actually want to show her some love and make what she wants? Requests from my wife, all that type of stuff. So but if I'm getting the groceries, I'm doing the cooking, it's probably going to be a lot of things that I want. So
that sounded like Bill Parcells to Jarrah back in the day. Well, if I'm going to cook, I need to go buy the groceries, man. This game tomorrow, again, South Carolina, obviously heavily favored, and everybody knows that. You never disrespect any opponent, and Shane won't let them do that either. But for me, and I don't know how you feel about it, I just look at tomorrow, and I've said this already. A, you put your frontline guys out there, and you go score some points, and you assert yourself. But B, Langston, and maybe the bigger thing is you've got to find ways in a game like this to keep your mentality, to keep your edge. I mean, this team is playing fantastic football, and with the exception of last week, they've been beating people, man, and they played a great game last week to win the football game. How hard is that? How easy is that? When it comes to the mental side of it in a game like this, knowing what is still ahead of you.
Yeah, it's extremely hard, and so, because it's the natural inclination to the young person, and I have been young person. Jay, you have been young person. Elijah is young person now. You think you ain't gonna get old? Currently. You think it's not gonna be you? You think it's not gonna be the team that's gonna be Appalachian State that might come in here on senior day or something like that? It happens. And so you got to respect the game. You got to respect the process. And this is the thing I know about football. There's a lot of ways to kind of play basketball and baseball. You can kind of, ho-hum around sometimes, but it's just something about football. You go out there and try to protect yourself or go half speed. As sure as it's going to get dark tonight, it's Friday pizza night. I'm going to have pizza tonight. You're going to get hurt or somebody's going to get dinged up because that's just how it works. And so the more you can understand that, you protect yourself by playing full speed, keeping and continuing to ascend. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing I'm looking for, probably not for the entire game tomorrow, but when that first kind of group of guys are in there, that first team guys are in there, are they handling their business, or is that swarm with defense the same one that I saw last week or the Texas A&M week? And again, let's be honest, you're not going to have to do it for the full 60-minute guys, but I want to see it until I tell you, boom, that's enough. Send in the next wave of guys like a hockey line. But it's very, very tough. And that's the thing. I mean, you see this every week. They've been talking about one of the hardest things to do is to win at home and then to take a bunch of college guys and to go on the road. We've seen this with the likes of Miami this year, going on the road, having these close wins, and then, finally having to catch up with them. It's really hard because, again, we treat this like a minor league system. But a lot of the things we got to understand is that we don't hold these guys to the same standard as kind of professionals, even though we kind of pay them. They still go off today to their own little world's part of the day. So it's a really, really tough job. And as a coach, that is really where we kind of, rely on them to earn their keep and make that salary right there to keep these guys engaged. One, to keep themselves and protect them from themselves, keep them healthy, but to also let them know that, like I just said, there's still an opportunity for us to get a double-digit season here, to get a victory over there, up there. And I'm going to tell you, as an old guy, when it's around Thanksgiving time, you don't have enough Clemson stories to tell because everybody's going to look, how many times you beat Clemson? Not enough. Meanwhile, Woodrow Densler is up the road somewhere in Orangeburg or somewhere up in Greenville telling everybody, and so, again, I tell you, as the ghost of Christmas past, as the ghost of old man past, young Gamecocks, go out there, lay it down, get yourself out, and start getting focused on ready for the next one.
I want to take you back just to last Saturday, Langston. And I think the big stories of the game, outside of the crazy finish, was the performance of Lenora Sellers. Now, this is a guy, to channel my inner Chris Collinsworth here. Now, here's a guy that had his struggles early on in the season, and you've seen him get like incrementally better each week and fixing certain things each week. And I think it all kind of culminated into this like explosive passing performance on Saturday. And look, plan A, by playing defense and smothering your opponent and them just not scoring any points, didn't work. Plan B of asserting yourself in the ground game, doing like what you did against Vanderbilt and Texas A&M, where you run for a bajillion yards, didn't work. Plan A
done it on while we waited for this to happen, while we waited for this guy to be kind of bubbling to the brim of what he is right now, Lenore Sellers. And so we were winning games earlier on in the year, defense, turnovers, a lot of sacks. That was a great illumination of last week. We couldn't, everything that was working for us in the past, over this past season, didn't work. As far as stopping the run, the defense getting the turnover, it was just maybe a glimmer of it, but it wasn't enough. And then we saw towards the end with the combination of Elijah Drinkowitz figuring out, I'm going to just keep running this thing, and then let me dial up a certain play. We still had to overcome that, and that was, again, one, it says a whole bunch of team ball. Somebody else figured out a different way. We figured out a different way to win. And I don't know in the past, joking to a lot of friends I had on a group text, when a certain Luther Burton caught a pass, I text somebody, I was like, you didn't think we was going to pull it out, did you? I don't want to say I didn't either, but I had the lemon booty a little bit. I was a little tight. I was a little thick. And so, but, our savior from Florence came off the bench and did what he did. He continued to ascend. And that's the thing I think I'm most impressed with. I knew, you hear about a guy being a leader, but just watching his demeanor all year, up, down, I feel like this is the guy we've been waiting on with like all the athletic ability, but the leadership, all of that steely-eyedness, and it's just something about him that he just has it, and it's just like momentum. I can't quantify it. I just know when it's coming, it's coming. When it's leaving me, I feel like, but it feels like right now it's all up for us right now because Lenore's the ascension, the growth of him, and seeing him to go out there tomorrow, seeing a really mature performance earlier on. Let's get him out of there so Robbie can get in there, all these other guys can get in there. But I think that's a great point. We figured out last week a different way to win when different things, special teams, all of those things weren't kind of working. It came we just enough at the end. Our quarterback pulled it out, and again, it was just not that deal at the last drive. It was the entire performance the whole day, managing the game, doing Lenore Seller stuff.
How frustrating can it be for a defense when an opponent is so successful at doing things that negate what you do well? We saw last week, they continued to roll Cook out. They found ways to get Noel into space where typically the South Carolina defense had been good. Obviously, South Carolina won the football game, but what's that like through the course of a ball game?
Oh man, I mean, it feels like you're drowning, falling, anxiety, like the trust fall deal, right? Like all my stuff's not working because collectively as a defense, all of these things have been working. Like, here comes five. And again, not that those things didn't happen, but it didn't come in bunches, or just the wave of momentum didn't feel like it took it over. They continued. We punched. They punched back. Punch back. Again, having the game at home, all of these things helped us. And again, we'll take it however we can take it. As a defense, you just got to go back to and it sounds very trite. It sounds very like, no, that's not going to work. You got to go back to the day one stuff. Slow it down. See a little, see a lot. Go back to your day one calls, your day one stuff. Now, again, there's a big difference in, like Coach Thorne always says, between somebody airing it out on you all day and kind of running it on you, because that feels a little bit more like, what's going on over there? Like, I need to see the tape. I need to see an iPad. Like, I don't understand. I was in my gap. And it's funny when sometimes when teams get their number on you, like, again, Elijah Drinkowitz can do, like, just the creativity. It feels like, man, I'm out here lost at sea again. But again, shout out to Clayton White. These guys got the stops when they needed to get the stops, and that's the other thing with defense, and that's the other thing you can't have as an Eagle, as a defensive guy. Yeah, we might have been getting shutouts and blowing people out on it, but right now, that's not important. We just need to go out and get a stop right now and give it back to the guy, and that's exactly what happened at the right time last week.
He's Langston Moore. We'll come back on the other side, get a few final thoughts on Carolina Wofford, maybe a few more thoughts on food, a little bit of NFL as well. He's Langston. He's Elijah. I'm Jay. Terry at Master Control. This is a Football Friday postgame show live at Columbia Craft. 12 minutes in front of 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Football Friday postgame show rolling along from Columbia Craft. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Terry Ford at Master Control back downtown over at the studios that way. Right over that way. Jack Veltri has arrived. He'll be joining us in the 4 o'clock hour, talking a lot of Gamecocks football, basketball, staff picks, standings going into the penultimate weekend of the regular season.
I'm watching him in the on-deck circle right now. He's taking his practice swings. He just put the donut on the bat. Jack means business.
That's right. Got the pine tar rag ready to go.
Yeah.
He's here.
Let's make sure it's not too high on that bat.
A few more minutes. That's right. Yeah, you don't want to get
George
breaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a scene, man. God, I remember that. That was
getting
great.
breaded.
Our good friend Langston Moore with us for a few more minutes back home in the DFW. He's been touring with Coach P a lot around the Palmetto State. You can get your kids into an event with Langston and Preston, or even bigger kids. Doesn't really matter. They are not ageist in any way when it comes to talking to you about what matters in life. Go to athletesandartists.net. There you will learn about the amazing Just a Chicken series of books. Great gift ideas for the young Gamecock reader.
Holidays coming up.
All right. Just saying.
They're coming.
Just a Chicken Little. Used to was a Rooster. You got the Butt and Gut podcast, the Fight podcast with Clemson Week coming. Relive that 04 spectacle. That's a good word, right, Langston? Spectacle to use
nice
for
word. Nice word.
Yeah. That's one of many. But go to athletesandartists.net for that and so much more. And again, how you can get Langston and Preston into a location near you, learn about the great Kev Roche's illustrations and so much more. One more time, athletesandartists.net. My wife and I, after the men's basketball game, turn on the Thursday night game on Prime right as the snow began to very lightly fall. And within minutes, it may as well have been a snow downpour. What's the heaviest snow that you recall playing in, especially, you had to play Green Bay and Chicago. What do you remember as the worst?
So the worst snow game, I'm trying to think. Maybe was one up in Green Bay. But again, all these teams are fit for it. They have, Green Bay got the hot water running through it on the field, so it kind of melts and doesn't stick. Cleveland last night. Now the deal with Cleveland last night is like that's what happened. One, you're in the north and you're on a lake, and so it just slowly the
lake effect, like Buffalo.
I love the shot of Mike Tomlin. It was like half of the face was snow because it was blowing from one off the
right.
lake, and then the other half was pristine, tape up. I know what I'm saying. So I know his barber was still proud. Like, man, even in the snow, it's still lined up. It's sharp. But I always will tell you the coldest game I've ever been in. Period. And because that was like that felt last night like fun weather. That felt like kids in high school bumping around, that type of deal. Now I have had a whole bunch of practices that were pretty terrible, but you get kids out there, you get guys out there playing football, even in the NFL or not. They're gonna, and some snow on the ground, they're gonna be clowns, they're gonna be fools. So that was probably some of the great coaching work that I had to see, that coaches had to get guys to focus in the NFL and stop making snow angels or other lewd things in the snow. As it's crazy what the imagination what some guys will come up with. As if you're still in fifth grade, Jay, doing that to the snowman, right?
Yeah,
but,
that was fun. Good for Clee. I'm happy for Deuce and the Browns. I mean, I think it bumps them down a little bit in the draft order. But hey, before I get you out of here, I got to ask you, as an NFLer, as somebody who knows the locker rooms like you do, Daniel Jones being benched and then being told you're going to play scout team safety in practice. Like, are we as non-NFL types making too much of that? Or is that something that really is genuinely insulting to a player?
That's super insulting. That's garbage juice. And I'm surprised that this dude, the head coach up there, Dayball, like, you must be trying to get back to Buffalo. Yeah, you must be trying to get back to Buffalo. You're trying to figure out a way to get out of New York to get down to, because he seems like him and Tepper, the two of them together, that might be something that really works out. So I don't know, but that's garbage juice right there. I don't understand. That's like if Jay Phillips, who got fired from 107.5, are demoted, and we put you on, I don't. I'm trying to see.
fella.
There we go. I knew somebody was coming from the. I knew somebody would get that play. Perfect. I knew that
Yeah,
would get
no,
it.
that. And if y'all haven't heard, by the way, Daniel Jones was given his outright release today. He went to Mr. Mara himself and asked for it, so that was good.
What are we doing?
But
What are we doing?
I don't know. I thought that was.
Daniel Jones to the Cowboys. Can we make this game watchable for Thanksgiving? Can we
I think
make
it's
this
gonna-
thing watchable?
Oh, you talking about? Oh, okay. Ooh.
Because that's the
Alright.
middle of the day Thanksgiving game. And as these teams are currently standing, I don't know if you could pay me to watch this game. I think this is the perfect eat all your food early and take that fat nap after the meal during this game because you will not miss much.
Right there.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the nap game
right there.
God, but if he clears
do we
waivers,
think-
they don't have to worry about it. I mean, they could pay him. They could. Oh man.
Cowboys,
And again,
Daniel
what are we
Jones
doing?
against the Giants on Thanksgiving.
And what are we
Oh,
doing?
come on, please, Jerry, please, if you care about any of this.
That would be a story.
Oh.
Langston, before we get you out of here, about a minute left. Tomorrow, for those who didn't hear us talking about it a little bit earlier, just perhaps most importantly, beyond the obvious, which is to always win the game you're playing, keeping that mental edge and staying sharp, knowing you got a big one next week and likely a really good bowl opponent as well.
Yeah, compound that interest across the board, whether it's special teams, whether it's offense, defense. Wait for Terry to hit the music to get me up out of there. Just keep on the trajectory because we've been ascending, and we just stay healthy. We're gonna be fine right into Clemson week next week.
Best to the family. Happy Thanksgiving, man. We always appreciate you. You know that.
I love y'all, man. Y'all be good. Be safe out there.
That's our good friend Langston Moore. Remove the chains to follow on Twitter, athletesandartists.net. Another great friend, Jack Veltri, joining us here at the table outside at Columbia Craft. Come hang out. Integrated Media, and now with all the football around this week, next week, and on into the month of December, plus your favorite holiday shows. Let's face it, if your kids are like mine, they're already watching holiday movies. They're already listening to holiday music. Do it all better than ever with Integrated Media. Now is a fantastic time, especially ahead of the postseason rush. Call the guys at Integrated, 803-948-8327. Amazing televisions. Listen, the equipment costs are the exact same as you find at the big box stores. What you get from Integrated Media is the expertise of having it put into your home the right way, one time, and the expert service throughout the life of the system, man. I mean, these guys are amazing at what they do. So again, one room, whole house, outdoor systems that look and sound just like indoors, home security, and so much more. Call my good friends at Integrated Media. As I say, they make house calls just like Santa, brighten the holidays with Integrated Media. 4 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the second hour of the Postgame Show. Football Friday edition from Columbia Craft. About an hour from now, their 7th anniversary party officially gets underway. They're open, so if you want to come pregame, as the kids like to say.
That's right, pregame for the party.
And then come on down, enjoy a pint. Starting at 5, they've got live music. They got food trucks. So they are setting up over there right now. It's going to be a big time. So coming out tonight, I think 5. I don't know. I don't want to say until, but until later.
Yeah, until they kick you out.
Yeah.
Until Maz comes out here.
That's right.
Starts waving his fist. He'd never do that.
And
Nice guy.
many of you are probably going to see Shabuzi and Jelly Roll tonight. Come on by here before you could even, I don't know, I can't say you can park here. That's not allowed, but you could park in the vicinity and then just walk up to
There's
CLA.
plenty of places to park around here.
Or you can just go ahead and park at CLA now, walk down here, and then walk back up.
See, perfect.
Yeah.
When you're within walking distance of CLA, the possibilities are endless here.
Yeah, that's right. I think Jack Beltry is pretty much always within walking distance of CLA.
I am literally right down the block over here.
Right over there.
It's a 5-10 minute walk to CLA, so it doesn't get much
So
better than that.
convenient.
Don't have to use a parking pass or anything for basketball. It's real nice.
So convenient.
Yeah, our good friend Jack Beltry is with us, of course, Gamecock Central beat writer and a regular part of what we do during many of the day parts, as we say, industry term, here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia and across the network. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Thank you for having me out. It's a beautiful day outside. I mean, it's no clouds in the sky. It's a little chilly in the air, but hey, it's football weather. Am I right?
Yeah, I love this. Tomorrow, I think, in the 60s?
Like 60s, like
kickoff?
the high. And here's next week. It's like 54 is the high at
Ooh.
Clemson, which is going to be – that is perfect.
And that'll probably be about the end of the game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, a noon kick up there. So enjoy it. Get gearing up for the big holiday. Now, you grew up in York County, right? So you're heading up that way?
Yep, out in Fort Mill. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so family all be there?
Yep. Everyone will be there. Everyone's coming back from school and stuff. I got 2 siblings, unfortunately, at Clemson. So I know.
House divided, truly.
I know. So and then we're all my family will be in Clemson for the game next weekend, and I'll be working. So
Jack will be slipping X-Lax into the siblings' desserts.
Yes.
Things like that.
Of
The day before, on the Friday before the game, just
Yes.
slipping
House divided. Am I right?
Yeah. I have some of that in my family. My father-in-law went to Clemson. I have a cousin, close cousin that went to Clemson. One of my best friends who was in my wedding went to Clemson. I know other people that went to Clemson, and we try not to talk for a few days.
See, we can all live. We can all coexist. Am I right?
In harmony.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people are like, no chance.
They're really yelling at their radios right now. Absolutely
Get this guy off the
not,
air.
Jack. Absolutely not.
There's some. It is funny how there are some places, like, if you don't have one or the other in like near proximity to you, life wise, then there really isn't as much of an understanding. But for those who do, you learn how to cope.
Yeah, it's
that's the word I'll choose.
Coping, okay. That sounds fair. Yeah.
I could say coexist or other things that sound nicer, but coping is how we look at it. But we always appreciate Jack's time. We'll have some fun talking about staff picks. And is Ford still out front?
Yeah, so I actually if you go on to my Twitter, Jack T. Veltry, I just sent it to you guys in text too.
Oh, good. Okay.
I updated the standings. I don't know how Terry does it. He's
cheating.
like 78 and like 30, I think. It is
quite
cheating. Frankly
How?
unbelievable.
He's cheating.
But
he's got a way to get into your computer system, and he changes his picks. And then on Monday, when you go back and look at it, they're all right.
I know.
That's what it is. It's cheating.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's the greatest turnaround in sports history.
There's no other explanation.
No,
So,
definitely not.
But well, that's good. Good for Ford.
Need to launch an
really,
investigation.
really happy for him. There's no doubt about that. Tomorrow, give us the vibe around what you've been around the team this week. You've been around the coaches this week a little bit. What's keeping the edge, man. That's been my theme all week. Keeping the mental edge, and we've heard the coaches say that too. Are the guys really buying into that at this point?
I really liked what Debo Williams had to say this week. I can't remember the exact quote, so I'm going to paraphrase here. He basically just said, I think he was asked, is it easy to not or overlook this a little bit? And he's like, mediocre people might do that, or people that want to be mediocre will do that, but we're not trying to be mediocre. And I really respected that because look, this team has done a great job all year of keeping it one game at a time, nameless, faceless opponent. Like it's all cliche, but it's what's worked for this team so well this year. So I fully expect them to come into tomorrow, play hard, do what they have to do, and then hopefully you get the starters out of there rather quickly.
I think they do get him out there rather quickly. And Debo, that's my favorite Debo-ism of the year, is talked so frequently about wanting to put donuts on the scoreboard. And they got so close with the Vanderbilt game.
Come say hey. Come in person. If you'd like to go, we'll hook you up with a pair of tickets.
Come as you are.
It's that simple.
As you were.
Well,
as I wanted you to be.
Come as you are, as long as you're, not,
in a Clemson shirt,
or I was gonna say, like, if you running around no clothes on or something.
Yeah.
Oh, your birthday suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that, please. No, there are children here.
That's right. And me.
Yeah, and me. I am child.
That's right. So, but come see us. And our buddy Maz is going to talk to us about this big party that, again, starts momentarily in about a half hour.
He's been dying to talk ball with us, too.
Yeah, he's awesome. I
ball
love
nowhere, Maz.
we should do more shows here regardless.
Yeah, even once the football
show
season ends. I'm telling you, we should do even for basketball. The arena is right there.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it as we
it's
speak.
right there.
We should do stuff for basketball season.
That's right.
I'm sure they'd love to.
Speaking of that, Elijah and I were talking off air about last night's basketball game. South Carolina did win, and if you only see a score, you would say it was moderately comfortable, and yet it never really felt that way last night against Mercer. What are you looking at as the deficiencies this team is still looking at?
Well, I think the problem is, look, no game this year has really felt comfortable at all. Even the game against Towson recently, just Mercer shot the ball extremely well last night. I mean, Elijah knows they weren't missing anything last night. And this is a team that takes about 33 pointers a game on average, and the average more fast break points than any team in the country. So, look, they had a lot of tough shots they took, and they just hit them. And sometimes they got a little lucky, and maybe it's that. Also, maybe it's South Carolina's defense not playing particularly great in the second half. But I kind of debunked that because the final few minutes of that game, I thought the defense really locked in. Morris Ugasuk had a nice blocked shot. And then also the defense held Mercer without a field goal for more than 5 minutes. So, look, it's not the prettiest game, but these are tough college basketball games to win. Nothing comes easy right now, and especially not early in the season with the team still trying to really figure out what its identity is going to be this year.
Yeah, defensively, I mean, Lamont talked about it last night. Jamari in the postgame talked about it as well. They kind of decided to switch everything on the perimeter, ball screens, triple handoffs, anything designed to free up a player around the perimeter. They decided instead of fighting through those, they're just going to switch them, right, which is doable for a team like South Carolina. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing to use that type of defensive coverage throughout a game. They all have their pros and cons, right? Same way in football, like the same reason a 3-4 or like a bear front or a bunch of different things like that you could do in football have pros and cons to them, right? I think that might be something that they might see as a defensive strategy that benefits them down the road. If you have defensively versatile players, that can be something that will help you in games against, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, the best of the Kentucky, the best of the best in the SEC. It's just one of those things too, where it might leave you susceptible to mismatches.
Yeah.
If you want to know the prime example of this, Baylor Gonzaga, one of the first games of the entire college basketball season, Baylor switched everything in that game, everything. And Gonzaga realized that, and eventually they got they do pick and rolls at the top of the key. They put Graham Ike, their center, down on a point guard because they would switch them. Mm-hmm. And then they throw the ball down into the post and draw a double team, kick out three. And then, of course, Gonzaga beat them by 40. You got to avoid that defensively, right? You want to avoid that scenario. So if they're able to have, a lot of these players grow defensively, I have no problem with Zach Davis doing that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Miles Studi doing that. They showed they could guard a bunch of different positions last year. That type of defense might put some stress on someone like Jamari Thomas. If a team has a lot of size, that might be a strategy they would, employ to just put Jamari in a ball screen and try to get him on a big. So there's pros and cons to every defensive strategy, especially when it comes to like ball screen coverages. But that's one of those things to look for whenever they do play teams that play really well in the perimeter, because they'll play plenty of them in conference play to see exactly how they maintain their defense in those type of games.
When you think about, Jack, where they are right now, obviously the one really bad loss in that one, Lamont talked about not wanting to coach effort. I think last night, at least late, the defense did seem to lock down a little bit more. But now you're heading down to Fort Myers, and you've got Xavier and Sean Miller. You're going to play either Michigan or Virginia Tech. Interesting side note about the Virginia Tech situation with the kid from the transfer from Temple that's not on the team and all that kind of. Well, that's not.
Yeah,
Gonna,
I wonder why.
That's not going to matter for the game. But Mike Young might, he's kind of. Yeah, they could.
They're terrible.
But nevertheless, you've got great opportunity here, but still such big concern. Are they holding anything back? Is there anything that Gamecock fans can kind of look at with some hope and go, all right, well, now let's go see what a bigger name opponent's going to do for them?
I'll let him tag team this question because I think he can probably better answer it. I will say, though, in terms of what's to come next week, I think South Carolina has a real good opportunity to go out here and kind of it's not going to erase the stain that is that North Florida loss, which is going to go down as a Q4 loss when it's all said and done. But it can help drastically beating a team like Xavier in what's basically the Hall's Chop House Cup here. and that, I mean, look, that's such just a weird storyline that I'm sure South Carolina fans are gonna be thinking about and stuff, some PTSD. But look, it's a great opportunity. Then you either play Michigan or Virginia Tech. So I think ideally you'd like to come out of there 1-1, but I do think South Carolina can come out of there 2-0. They just, again, I don't think they've played a complete game of basketball yet. Last night, for what it's worth, I thought was a lot better. Jamari Thomas and Zach Davis getting going was huge. Colin Murray-Boyles had a pretty solid game last night, hit some threes, made a really nice cross-court pass, did his thing. So, look, as long as these guys are figuring it out, continuing to play some good defense and doing what works, they have good defenders. Now they just got to kind of put it all together, and we'll see if they can do it on what's going to be a neutral court, which I think is kind of an advantage for Carolina as opposed to like when they went to Indiana.
Right.
That was a tough
and I'm curious too, Elijah, as to what the environment's going to be like. I mean, Fort Myers is one of those resort towns, and Florida cities. It's college basketball for the neutral fan may not be the biggest thing they want to do on a Monday night in Fort Myers, Florida. It's cool that this is a TV event, so what the atmosphere is like. But you, Elijah, were talking with me earlier, and I want you to expound on this for folks, and that is how to get Colin more involved across the board offensively, no matter what his listed position may be.
Exactly. I think when you look at this team right now, I think it's pretty clear that your best offensive weapon is Colin Murray-Boyles, right? With all due respect to the other guys on the team, Colin Murray-Boyles is the one that NBA scouts come to watch play because he is an NBA level talent. And they're in college basketball right now. You're seeing a little bit of a trend of big men being able to do more, right? It's kind of like, when Steph Curry first started breaking out, you saw a lot of teams shoot more threes, right? You're like, oh man, if we have a lights out 3-point shooter, that can change our entire offense. Nikola Jokic has had a similar effect to, like, not just in the NBA, but in college basketball too, where if you have a really good offensively facilitating big man that gives you an advantage, especially in pick and roll situations. What I would love to see is Colin handling the ball a lot more in a pick and roll situation. I was listening to JJ Redick and LeBron James's podcast over the summer, and they're talking about the hardest actions to guard in basketball. And they said one of the hardest, easily, is the inverted pick and roll, where a big man is able to handle the ball and you put a guard in a pick and roll situation, get a mismatch, or have to be able to handle a big guy like that going downhill, especially if they can play make. Colin has the ability to put the ball on the deck and not just get to the basket, but play make for others. Jack referred to that pass he made, that skip pass he made last night, which was one of my favorite plays in the game. I don't think the three-pointer was made. I think Jacoby missed the three.
No, it was Zach Davis.
Zach Davis.
Yeah,
Zach Davis.
He made the three. It was an open look, an awesome court vision by him. Because he's in the post and he's kind of guys backing down, and he just slings it over there. I don't know how he saw him, but that is kudos to him because you're totally right, man. He just sees things out there, and that is what really makes you think, like, hey, this guy could be what'd you say last night? Like the heart of your offense,
the fulcrum of your offense. You can run your offense through a guy like that, man. And
it's dangerous.
I like the guards that this team has, but I don't know if the offense is best suited for those guys to get you your shots off the dribble. They can do it, but I think if you want to maximize this offense I would love to see more of Colin putting the ball on the floor, making decisions almost kind of like a point guard. Even if he doesn't bring the ball up the floor, get him the ball going downhill, different actions, and letting him use his playmaking ability to really give you an advantage. I think that's the one advantage you would have over a lot of teams in the SEC is that a lot of SEC teams don't have that in their bigs.
I think from the beginning of the comments you made, what I heard was that Nikola Jokic and Steph Curry will be joining the Gamecock basketball team.
Yes, precisely. Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
I like their chances in every game now.
Man,
Need some upgrades.
I mean,
so.
that's wow. Hey, that's
I mean, talk about hitting the portal.
you know, that's a thing. No, it'll be. I'm anxious to see what they can do against a couple of big squads, and Indiana, like you said, in their building in an energetic crowd. That was a little bit too much for this particular version of Carolina basketball. But Xavier coming up on Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday night,
Monday
8:30, FS1.
Yeah,
So
you heading down to cover that one?
absolutely not.
Yeah,
I
that's
wish,
too bad.
but that's not for this team right now.
Well-
Maybe later, maybe in SEC play.
We'll come back on the other side of the break. Speaking of the SEC, drive around the SEC. It's a big weekend for a couple of schools in conference play and a nice weekend of college football. We'll get into all that and more as we get ready for the 7th anniversary party here at Columbia Craft. You're listening to the Postgame Show. It's a new set of wheels in the future for you. Well, no better place than Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union to get that vehicle financed, whatever it might be. Brand new, hey, they can do that for you with same low rates on all new to 21 models. Plus, they can finance over 100% of the retail or purchase price on those same models. Want something a little bit older, maybe for that younger driver as they're learning? It could be a nice holiday opportunity for you. They've got great options for older vehicles as well, and many plans come with no payments for up to 90 days. So they've also got additional coverage and insurance options that a lot of dealerships simply cannot beat. So go shop for that new car, that new truck, maybe a hunting vehicle. Yeah, you can tailgate whenever you want to, right? No matter what kind of things you might need, go do that. And then see the folks at Palmetto Citizens. 14 convenient locations and always online at palmettocitizens.org. Achieve your potential.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. With a few accidents to get to you that might be causing some issues on the roadways. We'll start with the ones in Richland County. You have a pretty big traffic backup caused by an accident.
Jack Veltri hanging out. Gus is here. He just won our tickets to tomorrow night's game. Well, tomorrow afternoon / night's game.
Let's go, Gus.
So appreciate Gus. We were just still lamenting some of the officiating calls earlier in the season. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, went down the rabbit hole of how the LSU game is going to keep you out of the playoff.
Yeah, you try to you want those things to be cathartic, and then you realize it ain't helping.
Yeah.
But it helps. Just come here with your buddies, have a pint, right? Or two.
And we have the expert.
We do.
We have the Bexpert, beer expert.
That works.
That-
I think
that's
Bexpert. Let's
Bexpert.
coin that.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, we can make that. We can make that an official title.
I think that's Britannica's word of the year next year.
Look at that.
Bexpert.
He is Maz Cotran. He has been hosting us out here all season long, and we did shows here for many
Yeah.
years now, and we love it. This is our favorite perch here, right by the spiral staircase on the. This is a patio of sorts.
This is a patio.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think if Bexpert's a word, this is a patio.
This is a patio,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
If not,
make our own
we
rules
just
around here.
made it one. So now we always appreciate the hospitality. And speaking of years, 7th year anniversary party starting in mere minutes.
Starting in mere minutes. We are so excited. And first off, a big shout out to you all, my friends. We are always, it's such a blessing to be able to host y'all here and welcome y'all here. It's always a joy. And we get to talk a little beer, talk a little football, and it's always a good time. But yeah, so about 30 minutes, 7th anniversary kicking off. We have our Vom Foss, which is our spruce tip lager, our 7th anniversary, our bourbon barrel aged stout, our black cherry brandy, then our coconut rum stout, which is delicious, about 11.6%. So,
Ooh, that's a heavy hitter.
so you'll forget about that LSU score real quick. I'll tell you. We got 3 great
Might forget about
bands.
everything.
I know.
You'll forget a lot.
You'll forget about the North Florida loss real quick. We might go back to the Dwayne Mackey days.
You'll forget about Coppin State even. And that one's deeply rooted
Oh,
into
man.
Jay's psyche.
Savell Newton might be quarterback at that point. Oh, goodness. We got 3 great bands kicking off at 5, like you said, Jay. So we got the Sam and Ilya band. They're an awesome funk band. Then after them is the Run Out Duo. They're going to bring some folk. And then we got 10 Mile Ride, who are an awesome Dead cover band. So if you want to come, come have a few of those stouts and come jam and come dance the night away. We can't wait to see everybody here.
All right, good stuff. Any big plan? What can we let us in on maybe some beers that we don't know about yet that will be debuting soon?
Yeah,
what's in the works?
Yeah, certainly. So we got a few series that are coming up. We have our Sours Love Sours series that's coming up. This is beckoning back to the Sourade days of a few decades ago. And similar to our limoncello right now, we're going back to the zesty and the tangy and something that's really going to wet your whistle as we get into the 2025 seasons. We got a few other great things. We got the macro relaunch today. And so please, and especially to the listeners right now, come check it out. We got the new can. So that beckons back to your Miller High Life. We always say it's a granddad's beer, right? It's so funny in the craft industry. We always talk about not having a chilled glass, but this is one you want a chilled mug for. We would always, before a Carolina kickoff, my dad would say, go get a chilled mug and put an ultra in it. Go get a chilled mug and put a macro in it. That's what we're going to say.
I think any beer is good in a chilled mug.
I think so.
With chilled
and
mugs.
that's such, not to talk about the Bexpert over here, but thanks, Elijah, for calling me that.
You are, though.
So the cold actually kills the flavor profiles of a beer.
Yeah.
And so that's why when it's like, Bud Light and, Busch, it tastes like just water when you get down. Well, because there's no flavor as it warms up. But the cool thing is with, I mean, an ice cold glass and a Yingling or a macro. That's the idea, right? Is we want it to kind of hark back to those times when beer was as simple as, hey, make it cold and make it free.
Right.
And,
Nice.
you know,
Nice.
So, but a few other great things coming down the line. I mean, our head brewmaster, Sean, who just won another gold medal for his Kolsch style ale back at Great American Beer Fest. So we technically had the best Kolsch in the country here for the next upcoming year. So we're excited about that. So
Yes.
not only does Don Staley have a championship up the road, but we have a gold medal here right on 520 Green Street.
There
So
you go.
we call this Championship Row right here.
Well,
you know?
I've told you.
Winners only, baby.
I've
Winners
told you
only.
off air a lot that I've become a massive West Coast IPA guy
Yes.
over the years, and Little Nostalgia Goggles has
delicious.
it has just really it hits the mark
Yes.
on everything, and even as you said, Big Nostalgia Goggles.
Big
does
Nostalgia Goggles. It's 8.6. So yet again,
Right.
Blake Mitchell might be quarterback after a few of
That's
those.
right.
You know what I mean? He might forget the last
That's
two
right.
decades. But we have so much fun stuff going on this next 2025 year, and we can't wait for y'all to be here throughout it too. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're excited about the beer that's coming out, the events that are coming out. Of course, our Hop the Trot in the springtime.
Yes.
There's going to be another big beer festival that we're going to have going. We really are excited about this upcoming year, and you're going to see a lot of changes in the tap room. We got a couple murals going on. We have a lot more. We're just going to make this place cool again, and it's going to be really enjoyable.
Not cool again,
to-
cooler.
Cooler,
I guess,
cooler.
you know,
what I mean?
It's
These-
been cool.
these are
Yeah,
what-
it is
cool.
actively
It's been
cool,
cool. It's
right
actively
now.
cool.
Yeah.
What I call that is not an improvement. That's what you call an enhancement.
An enhancement.
It's already at a solid level. So you're just
Think
taking the-
Lenoris 24 to 25.
All
You
right,
know what I
there you
mean?
go. All right.
There you go.
Oh, I
That's-
like that.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
it
think
is.
so.
I like
That's
that.
what
I think so. No, but we love you guys too, and y'all make it cool. You know, and
Well, no,
but it's
we love coming out, and I know a lot of people love this place. So, and again, there's a concert tonight. Come celebrate with you guys a little bit.
Yep.
Go do that.
Go
You're not
ahead.
going to the concert. You got concerts here. You got food. You got beer.
You got the whole
Brewery
9
town,
yards.
What do you need? You
You
know,
got the whole 10 yards actually.
Actually,
talk
yeah, you got the
football.
first down.
You got the
Yeah.
first down.
That is a first down.
And
And we are
that's-
moving the chains here.
Unlike the first down that we didn't have in that LSU game, but I digress. I
That's right.
digress. That was,
I need a big nostalgia goggles now because that wound has been reopened. So
I know, which I don't mean to. You know what I mean? But like I said, beer helps.
It helps.
The Bexpert is here for you.
This is what the Bexpert is for. The
Can you give me a shirt that says Bexpert?
Bexpert? Oh, I have to. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well,
or we
I did
might
see
have
the
to have
guys
a
from
beer profile here.
the
Might have
guys
to
from
make
Minuteman
one.
Press are here. And
Yes, they are.
They do like personalized logos for things. I think we're on to something.
We could get a Bexpert like 1, 2, and 3.
I think we're on.
Oh,
to
shirt,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a team.
The Bexperts.
It's like the bench warmers. You know what I mean? But
like
like
bowling
cooler.
shirts at that point.
We could
man.
go
You know,
bowling.
like bowling shirts.
Who do you
I
think
like
you are?
that.
I am kind of situation.
Yeah. There. Okay. See, this is what we do,
yeah.
and we're not even drinking.
Oh,
Not yet.
I don't know about y'all. I've had 6 pints. No, just 7. No.
He's
the
Maz,
Bexpert.
He's Maz Cotran. He is a Bexpert. But again, 7th anniversary celebration starting in mere minutes here at Columbia Craft. UG, Green, Pulaski, just a couple of blocks below the Colonial Life Arena. Very easy to find us, a block over from Todd and Moore. So if you don't already know where we are, then come say hey. Very easy to find, and plenty of parking right over here.
Yep, our side lot.
Yep.
And we're going until 10:30 tonight.
There
so
you go. Good
plenty
stuff.
of tunes,
All right.
and good drinks.
And learn more all the time. Columbia_craft on Twitter. There you go. Good stuff, dude.
All right,
Appreciate
guys.
you, man.
Always,
Thanks,
y'all are a
man.
blessing. We'll see you
All right.
soon. The Bexpert.
There you go. Good stuff. Drive around the SEC. Our boy Jack Beltry rejoins us here. We are live at Columbia Craft on a Football Friday. It's the postgame show. All right, welcome back into the post-game show. Appreciate Maz coming out here and appreciate all the folks at Columbia Craft for having us out like they have for so many shows. Hard to believe, man. 7 years. Everything just goes by too quick. 7 years they've been open, man. 7 years. The 7th anniversary party kicking off.
Time flies when you're having beer.
In just a second. Drive around the SEC time now as we welcome our buddy Jack Veltri back here to our table on the patio at Columbia Craft. We'll start with the big news that has nothing to do with football right now in the SEC, and that is a quarterback from, I guess, the greater Detroit area, Bryce Underwood. Since January, he's literally by the way, at least at most services, I think On3 has in there as well, as the number 1 recruit in America, 5-star quarterback, been committed to LSU, again, since January. And yesterday, he flipped his commitment to the University of Michigan. And there had been a lot of talk throughout the process that he, like a lot of kids, wanted to leave home, wanted to go experience other things. And apparently a bunch of people with a bunch of money said, hey, why don't you stay at Michigan? And he said, okay, I will. And it happens, Jack, in a week where a lot of other bad things are happening seemingly to LSU football. This just makes what's already a bad year a little bit worse.
Yeah, LSU's in a downward spiral right now. I mean, are we talking about Brian Kelly just not being back at LSU next year maybe? Like, it has gotten very bad very quickly. And look, they have a chance to remedy some things this week with a win over Vanderbilt potentially, but like, you just lost your number 1 recruit. I mean, the prize jewel of your recruiting class, and that's a really tough pill to swallow, especially if you're like an LSU fan that lives and dies with this team.
It's one of those things too. If you're LSU,
good thing is nobody really does that down there. So it's
no, exactly.
Yeah.
They're really chill about it. Yeah, they're really chill about it. But yeah, the thing about LSU, this is like a look in the mirror type thing too. It's like you got outbid by Michigan for a player that was originally committed to you. I mean, do you have the funds to be able to hang with a lot of the teams that are able to financially back national championship contending teams and programs? I mean, look, LSU, the goal is national championships. Like anytime you're a program that has won 3 national championships with 3 different head coaches since the turn of the century, the expectation isn't just getting to the SEC championship game. It's winning the SEC and winning the national championship. Brian Kelly hadn't really sniffed that. I mean, I know they backdoored their way into an SEC championship game appearance a couple years ago, but it wasn't necessarily close. No one thought that LSU team was on par with Georgia. They've been a class behind, and now you're losing recruits because you're getting basically outbid for them. It's a look in the mirror and say, hey, what are we really as a program right now, and how can you fix that? You know, I mean, yeah, there are maybe things you could have done differently to recruit better, but my brothers in Christ, if you give me $12 million, I'll play football in Siberia. That's a lot of money.
And that money, our buddy Matt Moscona is amongst those reporting that was the number. Now, how they're getting that exact amount, I don't know.
Because that sounds ludicrous.
Well, it does.
But it's split up over 4 years.
That's the
thing that people forget.
It's basically, or it's just for however long you stay. If he's as good as they think he is, and it's going to be there 3 years, right?
Yeah,
and it may well be worth it. I don't know, but like for a kid who's not even taken a class,
it's crazy
in college yet, much less taking a snap in spring ball or anything else. But it could be huge. That said, all of a sudden here's players only meeting at LSU. We talked about this a little bit on our show yesterday. Jack, Elijah, and I did. Brian Kelly being asked about it Wednesday in the coaches teleconference. Oh, no, there's no friction. Well, the sideline video from Gainesville the other night would suggest that there's a lot of friction. And now there's this. There are problems now. Are they fixable? Sure. And then they've got money. They were going to pay this kid.
Yeah.
So they've got money now to spend on somebody else, whether they can in time. And if it's going to be a high school kid, maybe have to go out and try to lure a portal quarterback that's really good. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
but now they got Vandy as well. So all of a sudden, and here's Vandy maybe thinking, hey, because remember, what have we been ragging on LSU about? When a quarterback runs, you can tackle him.
Yeah, they are allowed. The quarterbacks are allowed by the rules to advance the football. I recommend tackling them, and Diego Pavia is pretty good at that thing, at running the football as a quarterback.
I'm really anxious to see Vandy. I mean, look, I know Vandy will get to host Tennessee next week. There'll be a lot
Air
more.
quotes.
Yeah, there'll be
Yeah.
a lot more Tennessee fans in the building than there will be Vanderbilt fans.
They never truly host.
They
Tennessee.
don't. They don't. Did they ever really host anybody in conference play? But that's another story. But they, if they could get this one done tomorrow, that'd be something. Jack, how do you feel about Mississippi going to Florida after Florida beat LSU last week?
I wanted to pick Florida today. I really did on staff picks, but I'm like, the last time I picked against Ole Miss, that was the Arkansas game. And Ole Miss absolutely slaughtered Arkansas. So I'm learning from my lesson, and I'm picking Ole Miss. Look, it's really now or never for them. This is their best opportunity to get to the playoff as they'll ever have with all the transfer portal and stuff. And they have 2 moderately easy games. Like, you should be able to beat Florida at noon, and then next week you get Mississippi State, a bad Mississippi State team, in Oxford next week. So I feel good about Ole Miss winning, but at the same time, Florida is coming off that big win, but Florida is mightily inconsistent this year, so we'll have to see. And I just don't know if their secondary, with where it's at, can keep up with Ole Miss's receivers.
I think Ole Miss is probably going to go in there and level them.
Probably. I have a
Probably.
feeling they do
Yeah.
too. A noon game too is the swamp at noon. More intense than it would be at night. No, it's one of those things too, man. Like this this Ole Miss defensive front is just so nasty. Like Jackson Dart can have a bad game. I don't think it matters. They're so deep defensively, and I think that's been the big surprise to Ole Miss. The big difference really between last year's Ole Miss team that went 11-2 and this year's team that more than likely will be going 10-2 in the regular season. We'll see what happens after that. But the big difference is this one gets stops because they're so nasty up front.
Right. Real quick, the 2 Texas teams, UT hosting Kentucky, A&M goes to Auburn. Any potential? Which one has the bigger potential for upset?
A&M against Auburn. I have Auburn winning this game.
Okay.
Something about Auburn late. I know they're not good this year, but like late in the year, Jordan Hare Stadium. If any team can pull off an upset around this time of year, it would be Auburn. And look, Texas A&M, they're seemingly overlooking Auburn because you hear Mike Elko in his press conference talking about how he's slipping up, saying, Texas instead of Auburn.
I saw that. He was
not a good look.
No, it wasn't.
No.
But honestly, the question was so.
Yeah,
I felt kind of bad for him because the question was so over the top about Texas that I just think in your mind, I saw that. I felt definitely a Freudian slip, but
yeah,
it's gonna be.
It's a revealing
yeah,
Freudian slip.
yeah. I could see Auburn finding a way.
It wouldn't shock me.
But and that would be, God, dare I say, on brand for A&M.
A&M's never been able to get to the SEC championship, and it's games like these where they got to prove it.
Yeah, so we'll see. But if Kentucky finds a way to do in Austin what they did in Oxford, then more power to you. But I don't see that.
That would actually be hilarious.
We'll have more from Shane Beamer coming up for you. We've got our picks contest, the Wild Card Showdown, coming up around 5:30. Chance to win one of our craft beer passports. So much more to do, and we'll be celebrating with the folks here at Columbia Craft. The final hour of the postgame show coming at you.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with a few accidents to get to you. They're causing some issues on the roadways. Accident's got the left lane completely blocked on 20 eastbound before Monticello Road near exit 68. An accident on Gadsden Street near Richland Street. One on I-26 eastbound at Lake Murray Boulevard near exit 102. Main Street near College Street. And lastly, Pilgrim Church Road near Old Cherokee Road.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on a Friday afternoon, and that, of course, means we'll be getting you caught up on what Shane Beamer had to say last night alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips, also the final hour of the postgame show. We are live at Columbia Craft as their 7th anniversary party is quite literally starting right now. 3 live bands throughout the rest of the evening. They got food trucks out here and all the great regular beers they've got for you. I say regular, that seems just a little too pedestrian.
That does.
All the fantastic beers they have here for you,
Yes.
plus some new additions. And for those of you who like sours and
They have some fantastic
a lot of other things
sours.
they do. They just but come on and celebrate with them and come say hey to us. And it's going to be a good time out here. Many of you may be heading up the street to see Jelly Roll and Shabuzi tonight. So that's going to be a big one. I think that one's pretty much sold out from what I understand.
Yeah, from what I understand too. Yeah, they started, man, as soon as that basketball game ended and those guys got off the floor last night, they were doing work converting that thing into its
CLA is like a
concert
MSG
venue.
this week, man. I mean,
It
you
is.
had Pink sell it out. You had a basketball game last night. You got
Jelly Roll
You got
selling
Jelly
out
Roll
tonight.
tonight. So it's a
it's a happening place,
It's
bro.
a big few days for little old Columbia SC. But Carolina and Wofford tomorrow, and final home game of the regular season for South Carolina. Terry, we'll pull up a few of the cuts from Coach Beamer, if you would, please, sir, on today's list. And let's start real quick with cut number 1, Mr. Ford. And here's Shane Beamer on the injury report for South Carolina going up against the Terriers.
More thing. Yeah, they're doing okay. They're banged up. We'll see where they are on Saturday. Brady obviously won't play. We've already announced that. He'll be out until December. Disappointing. I mean, it was a non-contact thing, just running to try and go get a block for, I believe it was Dale Von Campbell on his long catch down the sideline. So that's unfortunate for Brady. Josh and Mike were optimistic on, and we'll see where Jared is as we go. And much respect to Prisma Health, but we don't have an SEC availability report, so we're not going to have one tonight either.
So there you go. Don't have to do quite as much, and you won't have to do one for next week's game either. But we have been talking about it. We talked about it with Langston a little bit earlier, talked about it with Jack as well. I'm not trying to – well, I guess I am trying to do this without trying to be somebody who's ranking these guys' importance too much. But when you look at Judge Collier and Josh Simon really at the top of that list, Elijah, what they do tomorrow is going to be interesting because
if anything,
if they do anything, are there situations, things that can be easily aggravated and made worse, and what they want to do on both sides of the ball to balance those guys in terms of depth and other guys getting some time will be interesting. You'd like them to be able to go on the final home game of the year, but if you can't, and it really does matter in terms of looking ahead to next week, especially, then you may not see him.
And here's the unfortunate thing about this, of this being, a game against Wofford as opposed to maybe this being the Missouri game, right? is that now we really have no idea the truest extent of the injuries. For instance, they don't play tomorrow. I don't think it's necessarily because they're too hurt to play. It's because they feel good, like they can win this game without him. They don't want to risk anything, even if it's a 5% chance. The fact that it is a non-0% chance would be enough for Shane to keep a lot of these players out. And if they do play, what does that actually mean? They won't play for much, so maybe we won't be able to really see a ton of it. But it's going to be really hard to gauge any type of availability for Clemson. Because of you don't have the mandated SEC injury report or availability report. Sorry, don't want Greg Sankey blowing my phone up. It's just one of those things that just makes it tough to be able to gauge the availability for the Clemson game and where these guys are at physically and the extent of what the injuries are.
Terry, if you would, on that note, cut 3, please. Again, with a couple of tight ends that are a little bit banged up, and certainly that is a position that has been well used this year. So you haven't had a lot of throw it to the tight end. Why don't they throw it to the tight end? Now they are throwing it to the tight end.
More than almost anybody in college football, I would say.
That's right. But a couple of them banged up. And here's Shane on what that looks like going into the final stretch of the year.
In regards to last Saturday, you're right. There was at one point we were down our top 3 tight ends. Josh was out, Brady was out, and Mike Smith was out all at one point. And that's obviously not ideal to be down your top 3 tight ends when you're a tight end heavy offense. In regards to this week, we're fortunate that room has some depth that before Brady Hunt and Mike Smith got here this year, if you go back to 2023, Connor Cox and Nick Elksness were playing for us as well, at least traveling and involved with special teams. And they're still in our program, so they're available. They're older guys. Mo Brown's a tight end that does a great job for us on special teams. So we've got, 6 tight ends right there that are all on scholarship right now as well. And then they all can come back next year if they chose to, except for Josh. But that's a priority. Certainly in recruiting. We're actively recruiting one now. And, that's a position that we always want to be able to utilize in our offense just because of not just the offensive value that they bring, but the special teams value. Like that's where we're really going to miss Brady, because Brady was the guy that a lot of the stuff on field goal, he handled a lot of that for us. The calls on our punt team, he was heavily involved with that. When meeting with Joe D this week, you don't realize how much you miss somebody until they're not part of the plan. And that's the situation with Brady offensively and special teams wise. So we'll be okay for Saturday going forward, but absolutely that's a position that we want to target in recruiting, but we also like the guys that can potentially come back next year too.
We'll have more from Coach Beamer looking ahead to the Wofford game coming up in just a little bit. Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, unfortunately bad news for Shelley Smith's Gamecock women's soccer team. They have been eliminated from the NCAA tournament. A tough 2-1 loss today to the University of Minnesota in the round of 32 up in Chapel Hill. So a big-time season for them in terms of Catberry doing her thing, but just not enough against a Big Ten foe today. So it ends in the tournament. But, look, she's still got a team filled with a bunch of kids that will be back next year, and they're regulars in this dance. And they just had their 5th appearance in the SEC championship game. So you feel good about what the future holds. But a 2-1 loss in a tournament, man, that's tough.
Especially, not too far away from beating a team like Mississippi State. Not just beating Mississippi State, really in the second half, they trounced them.
Right.
I mean, they jumped all over them. And I don't think there'll be a single team in women's college soccer this year that 3-0 Mississippi State.
Right.
At all.
Yeah. No,
that's how good.
I agree.
Mississippi State, there's a lot of things that school does and does not do. And one of those things that they do not do is give up goals in women's soccer. And you put 3 on them. So that showed you what the ceiling of this team was. And it was really high, which is what makes a result like today a real bummer.
Yeah, that's tough. But congrats to Shelley and the crew on another strong season for what they do in women's soccer. Men's basketball for you last night. Terry, if you would, sir, cut number 18. Just hold on to that one for a second while I talk to Elijah about this. You were courtside last night as Carolina did win the game against Mercer. We mentioned it with Jack a little bit earlier. If you only see the score of 84-72, 84-72. you're like, well, okay, that's a good, comfortable win. It never really felt comfortable until there was about a minute left in the ball game, though. Is that
Yeah,
is that
it was
fair?
the final minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, Mercer went on a serious scoring drought in the last few minutes of the game, and that a lot of that featured turnovers that turned into South Carolina points on the other end. So, I mean, it was really the spirit of that game was a South Carolina 6 to 8 point win. Really, was the spirit of it. Like Mercer took a lead relatively late in that game, but it didn't last very long. So, didn't really have any doubt that South Carolina was still going to win that game, just because they are just that much better. And you have your easy button in Colin in the post
Right.
if you really need to break that glass in case of emergency. And they kind of did a little bit. I mean, Colin initiated a lot of the offense in the back half of that game that was ultimately a difference maker. And Jamari hitting threes helped. Zach having a career high 18 helped out a lot too. But yeah, the spirit of that game was South Carolina by 6, 7, 8 points.
Yeah. Here's Coach Parrish from last night. The team is 3-2. Obviously, had the one bad loss that is still going to, just hang around this team's neck for a little bit longer. But here's Coach on some of the frustrations that the team is dealing with.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, honestly, there were a couple of times where we were in a huddle and we were going to do something specifically. And then when we come out of the huddle, we don't do it. Or there were other times where a coverage, I guess were last year's biggest strength of last year's team, not to compare and contrast necessarily, but they were really good earlier in the season at some of those things. And you can't force your group to grow in those. To me personally, some of those are, you could challenge me to improve my jump shot or to improve my passing. That might take more time. Some of these things, I think, with a super high level of concentration are more reproducible, and it's just taken us a little longer to consistently be able to do some of those things. And because of it, we end up giving up more points than what I think we should, based on our physical attributes.
It still sounds to me like he believes, and I think I agree with him, is what I'm going to lead up to here, that he still believes most of Carolina's problems here in the early going have been between their own ears and a matter of figuring those things out, not that he doesn't have enough good basketball players.
Exactly. I think that's a whole lot, especially like on the defensive side, right? When so much of defense is about communication, so much of it is about being locked in and focusing and reacting to something the offense does, right? Like last night,
Network. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. 803-948-8327 for all of your home theater needs, home security needs, and so much more, especially here ahead of the holidays and the football postseason. Do it all better than ever with our good friends at Integrated Media. More from Coach Beamer on the other side, and coming up in about 20 minutes or so, we'll invite two of you on board to play this Friday's edition of the Wild Card Showdown. We are celebrating with the folks at Columbia Craft, their 7th birthday. Come have a pint or two with us. You're listening to the Postgame Show. Not only is it holiday time when it comes to home theater installation and enjoyment with our friends at Integrated Media, but very soon here, the second location of Pro Swing will be opening in Forest Acres. Very excited about this. It's going to be
A little closer to us.
Yes, a lot, actually. Right now, the original Pro Swing out at world headquarters of Integrated Media on Snapdragon Court in Chapin. But very soon, they'll be doing that for you. There'll be some gift ideas for the golfer in your life as well, whether it's the Chapin location or the Forest Acres location. So be thinking about that. And then again, be thinking about upgrading all of your home theater needs too. 803-948-8327. Maybe an outdoor system, maybe just upgrading the equipment in the home, whatever you want to do. They do it all for you. Even installing your video doorbell. Yes, whatever you need, they get it done to make your life easier. That's my friends at Integrated Media. Welcome back into the postgame show. 20 minutes after 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, a football Friday afternoon. Celebrating here at Columbia Craft. Their 7th anniversary party is underway. 3 live bands throughout the evening. Food trucks. So if
I
you
love a good food truck.
want to come hang here for a bit, again, we're definitely seeing a lot of folks that are going to be at the Jelly Roll Shabuzi show. So, if you
That's
want
just
to come
fun to say, Shabuzi.
Shabuzi.
Jelly Roll and Shabuzi.
Yep.
It sounds like my kind of Friday night.
So come on down. But we, if you don't know where we are, and you are heading to that show, we are 2 blocks west of Colonial Life Arena from the Green Street side. So just come down here. We're right in between Pulaski and Green and UG. Very easy to find us.
Yeah, we ain't hard to find.
Yeah.
Like Deion Sanders, baby.
If you've,
We ain't hard to find.
and again, if you're down here, every once in a while, maybe you live outside the downtown area. We're a block over from Todd and Moore, where they've been historically located for a long time.
I was going to say.
Since the 40s.
That is a long time. I wasn't around then.
All I know is since the 40s. I want to say 1944, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I mean.
I was not born when they opened.
Yeah, the 40s. I mean, that building has seen a lot. It's seen, a world war, a presidential assassination, the advent of the cellular phone, the advent of the internet. But you know what? One thing it has never seen is a Chicago Bears 3,500-yard passer.
No.
Has not.
Wow.
Or a Joel Embiid trip to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
Ever.
Well, they're not going to see that. They might see a Chicago Bear one day throw for 3,500 yards.
Maybe. Yeah.
They might. I don't think they will see Joel Embiid lead the 76ers to the NBA Finals.
That one I feel way more confident in not happening.
Yeah.
Because it requires you being on the floor to play.
Yeah. That's fair.
And you cannot make it to the Eastern Conference Finals if you are not on the floor in the regular season to get yourself to the playoffs.
I like it when we deal in fact.
Yes.
Because
and that is fact.
It is. Yes. You can't.
It's like the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams contest. You can't win that pot if you don't enter the contest. The Sixers can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals if their best players aren't on the basketball floor.
Speaking of which, go to 1075thegame.com, enter the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams contest. $1,100 pot is tomorrow the day.
And use it at, most convenient. I think, it might behoove you to save it for next week.
Yeah. Think back to
but they don't work that way.
Y'all help me
Special
out.
Teams touchdowns don't work that way.
94.
I went around then. Couldn't tell you.
Okay. 94 started the second half in Death Valley, and Carolina returned a ball down to the 2 or something.
Ooh, close.
Yeah.
Close.
Carolina won that game going away.
Really?
Yeah. I was up there. It was a really nice day. I remember the next time we went, Carolina also won in 96, and it was cold. It was at night. It was cold. So anyway, there you go.
It'll be a little chilly there
next
Saturday.
1075thegame.com, Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. We thank Lisa and her law firm for doing that. And $1,100 up for grabs, which you can't win if you don't register. Terry Ford running master control for us today. We appreciate that as far as he knows.
As far as he knows. Love the caveat.
Well, I'm honest, if nothing else.
If anything, yes.
So there's that. But Mr. Ford, if you would please, sir. Now he probably wants to throw me a curveball. But cut number 6 from Coach Beamer on today's list. What Shane's looking for in terms of getting a victory tomorrow.
Yeah, Joel, Coach Watson, their head coach, has done a nice job improving from last year to this year. Good team that's been in every game for the most part and just has played a really tough schedule. Offensively, they got a 6'5" quarterback that's athletic, can run and throw, and they have another quarterback they bring in to run the ball a little bit as well. It's a couple physical running backs, and offensive line to me is athletic, and they've got some receivers that really have really good ball skills and can make plays. And then, defensively, they play hard. They've impressed with 2 of their corners. They're athletic guys. And then they've got a couple guys on the defensive line that are good football players and cause trouble. And they're good on special teams. They're going to make us work. I mentioned it Tuesday. Just this season alone, Todd, they've faked a punt. They've faked 2 field goals. They've done a surprise onside kickoff. This is, this is their last game, so they don't have anything to hold back. So we know we'll get their best shot, and our guys are going to be excited to be back in Williams-Brice Stadium one more time. And key for us is just handle the unexpected, because we know we'll get that from them. And then the other key will be for our fans to be there early and be loud and send these guys out the right way, our seniors.
Do you expect South Carolina to counter with some trickery of their own tomorrow?
I don't. I think they'll keep it pretty simple. I think if there's any trickery that they've been working on, I think you might see that reserved for Clemson. I think that might be the one where any sleight of hand plays here might be reserved for what will be, your Super Bowl basically, which will be trying to clinch win number 9 in Death Valley. Personally, I think that might end up being the case.
I hear Shane say the things he just did, and it harkens me back. I think we even mentioned this game, so it's funny that it comes up again. The Boise, Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. One of the greatest football games ever played.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And
it's maybe top 5 favorite college football game.
It might be,
of mine
man.
of all time.
It was a big deal, and it included like a marriage proposal at the end too.
Oh, it was
so
the perfect way to end it.
All kinds of stuff. But
the best night's my 12-year-old wife at that point.
Are we looking at something like that tomorrow? I mean, based on how he's kind of describing what they do and what they've done,
that they're gonna, Wofford will try.
Yeah,
Wofford, I think, will definitely do whatever they can, because look, you're not just going to be able to line up against them, line of scrimmage, offense line and defense line, and vice versa, and say, all right, let's play some football. Let's strap it up, play some football. You're going to need some sleight of hand stuff. If you're Wofford, to be able to at least get any type of advantage, like a first down, faking a field goal might be your best chance at getting into the end zone. I mean, just from a size standpoint too, man. If you had all these players, if you had Wofford's team and you lined them up ahead of us right now, and then you brought South Carolina's team and stood them up next to each other, you're not going to convince me really well that team is going to score multiple touchdowns on that team.
That's fair.
You're going to have to get really creative if you're Wofford and empty out the bag of tricks to see what you can do to try to steal this one.
We'll have a little bit more from Coach Beamer on the seniors that are saying goodbye to Williams-Brice tomorrow. We'll do that for you in just a little bit. But right now, we need 2 of you to come on board. 803-404-6100. It is time to play this week's edition of the Wild Card Showdown. Last week was not pretty.
No, it was a bloodbath across the board for all of us not named Alan Cole.
Nobody had a good week.
4-1.
And thank goodness Alan was just an exhibition player.
Yeah.
So it didn't really count against us. But 2 of you, if you find a way to beat us, then we will hook you up with one of our 107.5 The Game craft beer passports. Good for here.
Yeah, you could use that here.
And many other locations across the Midlands. 803-404-6100. It's time to play the showdown. We'll get 2 of you, and we'll do it next. In the Midlands of South Carolina right now, and if you are not staying warm enough inside, it's time to call AAA Heating and Air for a brand new system or just a quick repair, an inspection, whatever the job may be. Roy and Dana Finley's crew can handle it for you. Now, if it is time for something new, we're getting near the end of 2024, and if you haven't heard about this deal, you need to take advantage if it's time for a new system, all right? No payments or interest for 12 full months when you buy in 2024. A 15-year parts and labor guarantee. You heard me right, 15-year parts and labor guarantee. A $1,500 system buyback rebate, so money in your pocket, and they guarantee that they can get you financed to make sure that this is more affordable for you and your family. Get an instant quote when you log on to call888today.com. That's call888today.com, or you can call them up yourself, 803-677-1500, and speak to one of their great professionals. Stay nice and comfortable all year long with AAA Heating and Air. Yeah, I don't know.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with a few accidents to get to. They're causing some issues on the roadways. We got some good news, though. That's that the accident on 20 eastbound before Monticello Road near exit 68 has been cleared. But some other ones are still causing some active traffic backups, like one on Pilgrim Church Road near Old Cherokee Road, Main Street near College Street, I-26 eastbound at Lake Murray Boulevard near exit 102, and lastly, Gadsden Street near Richland Street.
Game show. He doesn't even know it. Our buddy John is here, and we just lost one of our players. And I don't have time to get him back on. So, John, congratulations.
Yes.
You were going to join Ken on the airwaves.
Right place, right time.
And play this week's edition of the Wild Card Showdown. And
Have you
didn't
played,
even
John?
know it.
I have. It's been
not
since college, though, and trying to think. Terry Cousins was actually there for that one.
Oh,
back
wow,
at Adams.
Dude. That's that long ago.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, good to see you. And you're in. Ken, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
We're doing all right, buddy. All right. Well, here's how we do it. So, again, John, congratulations. Thank you for stepping in at the very last second.
Everything in life is about timing, Jay.
It is, man. 4 against the spread. We have a wild card game for each, a tiebreaker stat, and away we go. And if you guys can find a way to beat us and the other guy, of course, then we will hook you up with a craft beer passport. Ken, I will let you start us off with the game of the week. We got 2 games of the week in college football, really. So 1A, 1B. Ohio State is a 10.5-point favorite at home over Indiana. Who you like, Ken?
So I would take Indiana on the points.
Indiana plus the points. John?
I'll also take Indiana in the points here.
Indiana and the point. This line moved down quickly.
You said 10, right?
10.5. 10.5.
I want to see Indiana do it.
I think a lot of people do.
Oh, I'm
think
definitely
everybody
cheering
does.
for Indiana to do it.
Elijah Campbell?
And if it was 14.5 like it was to start the week, I would really think about that. But you know what? I'm jumping all over Ohio State here to cover up.
Yeah. I am.
Even though I don't want to see it.
I just think, listen, again, I use this logic and sometimes it just bites me in the rear end. But this is a game. Look, Ohio State better bring it.
They need to.
Yes.
Ryan Day needs them to bring it in this
there's
game.
a lot
if anybody
more.
On this planet needs a certain result
Right.
here, it's Ryan Day.
James Franklin.
I agree.
James Franklin. Yeah, James Franklin does it. He never comes through.
I've got
Biggest fraud on
Ohio
earth.
State minus the 10.5 as well. So there's a split there. All right, John, you can go next on this one. The other game of the week, Arizona State hosting BYU in what is basically an elimination game from any probably Big 12 and national consideration. Arizona State minus 3 at home over BYU.
Give me Arizona State outright.
Yeah, kind of. You know what? I'll just follow you up on that one. I agree. I think Arizona State is going to win the football game outright as well, plus covering that. So I'll take it. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take ASU too.
Arizona State says, Ken, you don't sound confident. You sure?
It's just one of those games. I really don't know much about either team, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I hear you. No, they're both 8-2.
Yeah.
If it was in Provo, I might feel differently, but it's not. So I don't.
BYU plays a lot of one-score games. They've been what I like to call a golden horseshoe team this year, but you can't be a golden horseshoe team unless you're in the game. I think it'll be a one-score game. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a recruit that is on a recruiting visit for Arizona State named Joseph Smith. So if Joseph Smith is in the house, BYU ain't losing, baby. They are not.
So you got
Give me the Cougs.
BYU. You're not making that up, are you?
No, I saw that. I definitely saw that on Twitter. Whereas someone who's going to visit a potential recruit for Arizona State is named Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith has had a BYU game. Who am I to pick against the Cougs? It won't be me.
Good. That's good. All right, that's good. To the NFL we go. Elijah, I'll start with you. Green Bay hosting the Niners. It is the Pack -3.
Ooh, give me the Niners to cover that.
Niners to cover in Green Bay. John.
What would David Cloninger say about this game?
He would be bad-mouthing San Francisco.
Niners can't win
Eternal
anything for
optimist.
anything.
That's right.
Eternal optimist, David Cloninger.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
No
You know how there are glass half full people and glass half empty people? David's glass has a hole in the
it's
bottom of it.
broken, yes.
Yes. No, I'll take San Fran in this one.
San Francisco. Ken.
I'll take Green Bay. San Francisco is pretty beat up, if I remember correctly.
They are beat up.
That is true.
Yeah, I'll take Green Bay in this one too, just to have a little fun with all of us there. I think Green Bay, although, gosh, I can see Green Bay winning by 2.
By a field goal.
Philadelphia is going out to the coast to take on the Rams, but it is the Eagles favored by 3. I'll start this one off. You know what? Call me crazy, and I know a lot of you do every day. The Rams are going to win this football game. Just give me the Rams.
Ooh.
Yeah, give me the Rams. John?
I've been getting just hammered all season in the NFL. I'm just going to go ahead. Philadelphia's going to win this one.
Philadelphia to cover the 3.
Painful to say that, but
Elijah?
Ooh, yeah. Give me the Birds.
Philly for
I trust
you
the Birds.
as well.
Shout out Don Sealy.
And Ken?
I'll take Philly as well.
Philadelphia. All right, I'm on a weird island. All
Rams
of a sudden here.
Island.
Not sure I like that. Wild card games. John, yours is Alabama, 13.5-point favorites at Oklahoma.
Alabama and the points.
Alabama to cover the spread. It's a big spread. Alabama.
I've seen Oklahoma in person, Jay.
I'm down.
Not impressed.
Yeah, I'm down. Ken, your game. Ooh, Ken. This is a good game. Colorado, 3-point favorites at Kansas.
Ooh.
What do you think, Ken?
Colorado seems to be on a roll. I'll take Colorado.
Yeah, they do, man. They are playing good football. There's no doubt about that. All right. I get Notre Dame Army neutral site game in the Bronx, Los Bronx. Oh, man, I'd love to see Army get it done. They won't. Notre Dame's going to do what they did to Navy, I'm afraid. Notre Dame to cover.
By the way,
13.5?
By the way, the
14.
Army does, in fact, Jay, have amphibious landing craft.
That's what I said. Yeah, they got boats.
They could boat in and then drive up to the stadium.
Yeah, they could do that.
It's an option.
Yeah.
I just say they come down.
I still think it would be better if they had Higgins boats.
Sure, I get it.
One can dream.
Finally, Elijah Campbell, Mississippi going to Florida. Lane Kiffin's team giving the Gators 12.
Yeah. Oh, 12. That's 12.
12.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. You know what? -12. You know what? Give me Ole Miss still. I think they win pretty big.
Oh.
The question is, does Lane Kiffin do the Gator chomp to troll Florida fans?
I would. Man, he'll do anything.
He would.
And that would be a troll on so many levels.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would. And finally, guys, tiebreaker statistic is total offense for the Indiana Hoosiers tomorrow afternoon in Columbus. Total offense for Indiana. Let everybody think about that for a second. And John.
379.
379 says.
I wrote mine down before you said it, John.
What'd you
Very
say?
close.
Ooh, all right.
377.
377 says Elijah.
That reminds me of that Family Guy skit from the Price is Right, if you know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah, sure. We do that a lot on this thing. Yeah, $1, Bob. Ken, what do you think, man? Total offense for Indiana.
Let's take 400 yards.
400 even. All right. Oh, man. What's you got 377, Elijah?
Yep.
God, I could be a jerk.
I write every time we do this. I write it down that way. Whatever my initial gut.
I will give
is.
you a small bit of cushion, and I will say 365. So you have 12 yards to play with there, and we'll find out. Anything below
Might be 11 more than I actually need.
All right. Well, John, thank you for pinch hitting at the last minute. Sorry to the guy
I'm always
that
here for you.
dropped off, Steve. We're thinking about you, Steve. Sorry. Yeah, maybe next week.
Gone but not forgotten.
And Ken, thank you, buddy, for listening and playing along. Enjoy the weekend, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, man.
Good luck,
Right back
Ken.
at
Thanks,
you,
Ken.
and we'll let you know coming up on Monday's program.
Monday.
So right now, Elijah Campbell, 32, 27, and 1 against the spread. Yours truly, 30, 29, and 1 against the spread.
I have a 2-game cushion, and really in this week, BYU Arizona State's a big one. Niners Packers big, and Eagles Rams. Yeah, actually, this could be a moving day.
Yeah.
This could be significant. I will either gain a pretty big cushion, or you will take my throne.
Oh, I'm going 5-0 for you on a recorded message.
I'd love to go 5-0 for you. I'm not going to clear my throat.
Before I came on, I talked to John Anthony.
That's right. Can we, Terry Ford? Can we bring you in because we didn't get to do a handoff today? You just completely blew me off at the 2:45 break there. So, would you like to discuss a couple of these games, including what you think Indiana might do in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow? That's a no. He just blew me off again.
He did.
He's probably talking to Ken and getting Ken's info and
Yeah.
going, "Hey, I told you I couldn't talk anything." I am anxious.
Go 5-0.
I am anxious of this game. Again, I say anxious. It's not like I'm going, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen?" But it is such a monumental game for Indiana football. I don't know that they've ever
School
even really
history, man.
dreamed of anything like that. I mean, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
Like
really?
that.
Yeah.
I just think they have never even thought, could we be in a position where we're going to Columbus with a chance to overtake them and win our conference?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that they've ever thought that.
I mean, 9 wins was the dream for a while. Like, just to get to 9 wins was the dream, and now you've gotten to 10, and there's a chance that you will get to 11 because there ain't no way
Is
they
Corso
losing that Oaken bucket game.
is Corso going to wear his Indiana sweater
God, he
tomorrow in
has to.
Columbus?
He has to,
He should, right? Like, he really should.
because you know what? If you yell at old Lee Corso for doing that, you're an a-hole, man. Then that's a you problem. That is exactly what you are. If you yell at Lee Corso, that
What
sweet
if
old man.
What if Lee wears his sweatshirt and Kirk wears his jersey?
Perfect.
That'd be fun. Yeah, Kirk. Well, Kirk. Now they think about those people are so like, it's weird how their relationship with him. It's like,
They're so Kirk and Lee.
No.
Oh.
With like the Ohio State folk with Kirk.
Oh, really?
Like how much they just dump on him.
Even though I feel like
it's
Kirk
weird.
shows Ohio State an adequate amount of love.
Well,
for
he
the program
does,
they
and
are.
you can't. I mean, when you do what he does, you can't just be like outright. Hey, you know where I played football? Like, you can't just go
Yeah.
own it like that.
No.
Not at his level. I mean, but he said before, like, oh, I love Ohio State, and I'm glad I went to Ohio State, and I'll always love Ohio State, but I can't go, yay, Ohio State.
I can't rip open my my shirt
can't-
with an Ohio State jersey
you just can't-
under it.
You can't do that.
In a position like his.
But it's going to be
He's a professional.
But all right,
As often as they go to Ohio State, they can't.
yeah. All right, we'll get out of here. Thanks again to Ken. We'll come back on the other side and wrap it up with a few thoughts on what's going on. Carolina Wofford is the postgame show. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show on this Friday evening. Lots of traffic here in downtown Columbia, heading up to see Shabuzi and Jelly Roll. Or you might be coming here to Columbia Craft to celebrate their 7th anniversary. Whatever you might be doing in downtown, have fun with it. Maybe some of you are in. I know when the Wofford game comes, or a Citadel game, or a Furman game, or a State game, you got folks who pull for Carolina throughout the year a lot, and want to see their team win when they get that chance. Believe me, I heard from some Citadel folk a few years ago, and I was talking about not playing these kind of games anymore. And so
it's fun for them.
Yeah,
it's real fun for them.
Well, there was like a 20-year period where Carolina didn't play any FCS teams, not just in-state teams, but any of them. And then you added the 12th game, and it's like, well, let's just do that. But anyway, it's looking forward to it. I always like games like this. Also, the military salute game, so that's always
fun.
Man, I you get all what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional. I'll just say that at halftime when they do that. But it's great. It's great. But here's Shane Beamer. It's going to be emotional before the game. Here's Shane Beamer on so many seniors and so many important seniors saying goodbye to Williams-Brice.
Gonna get him emotional.
Yeah, dang it, man. I can say a lot. Great question. First of all, thanks for being here tonight. We always on Thursdays we always practice in our indoor facility. This is what we've done, and I was had those guys that stood up that were here in December 2020 when I got hired, because back then that was in the height of COVID. And you couldn't have your team meetings in a meeting room. You had to do it in, spaced out and all that stuff back then. So the very first team meeting I ever had was in the indoor facility. That was South Carolina got beat by Kentucky on a Saturday night up in Lexington. During the game, it was announced that I was going to be the next head coach. Flew to Columbia the next morning, and the first thing I did was go get to meet the football team in the indoor facility. And we were literally in that same end of the field this morning, and or after practice this morning, and I just had those guys stand up that were in that meeting, because it seems like yesterday, but you think about all those guys have been through since that point, but not even leading up to that point. They were freshmen that year, and the coach they came to play for was no longer going to be their coach, and they easily could have gone somewhere else and played for somebody, because none of those guys knew me. I knew Boogie a little bit because we tried to recruit him at Oklahoma, but outside of that, I didn't know anybody that's still here. And that was an emotional day getting to be here, but then being able to be here with them all 4 seasons, and they've stayed all 4 seasons along with the other seniors as well. I've just got so much gratitude and appreciation for those guys. Love them deeply, care about them, going to miss them, but that's why I'm so adamant about sending these guys out the right way on Saturday. Great question.
He has talked a lot about wanting folks to enjoy the tailgate. It's going to be a beautiful day in Columbia tomorrow.
It is.
Enjoy the tailgate. Maybe try to get out a little bit earlier and enjoy the same amount of tailgating, but then get in to tell these guys goodbye. And he mentions Alex Huntley, who, again, I've known a long time, and I remember very vividly how he and Birch were being recruited at Hammond at the time. And trust me, there's some big names that came across.
They're playing for another state title tonight.
I know. Down in Charleston. Yeah. And I expect them to get it done. But again, with COVID and those things, I don't want to, it's a unique class. I want to be careful not to say any class is more special than another, Elijah, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But, and again, like he said, for a lot of the guys that were brand new to the program that season, that did hang around, that did believe in Shane, and that have seen that belief and trust start to pay off with what's happening right now. And I don't know how the season's going to end. You got 3 games left. No matter what, you got 3 games left.
Football.
What
equates to a quarter of a season left.
But if you continue on the trajectory you're on in those 3 games, you may well have a 10-win season here, and how special that could be for a lot of those guys. It's an interesting, like I say, it's a unique type of senior class, not just the old guy. And again, even Rocket and Kyle and some of those guys that just got here.
Knight.
D Knight. I mean, so look at them from that perspective too, of what they've done to help make change.
Yeah, well, and that's my favorite thing about this senior class too, is you have the guys that were here for the 2-win COVID, or coming here after the 2-win COVID season, and you had the ups and downs of beating Tennessee and then beating Clemson at the end of the 2022 season. Last year was not what you wanted at all. No one set out to be 5-7, and this year is almost kind of like that redemption tour, right? Like you got to redeem yourself a little bit, but you've went from one of the lowest lows in the history of this program, not the, but one of, and it was at a very low point, and now they've gotten to a chance really that they've earned to go to win 10 games. And for some of the guys that came in, for 1 year, they got a chance to enhance their profile and really change their careers as well.
Thanks as always to the folks at Columbia Craft. Happy 7th anniversary to them. Come party all night long. Those of you heading up to Jelly Roll, have fun out there. Appreciate you coming by to say hey. Terry Ford, thank you, sir, back at Master Control. Thanks to Jack Veltri and Langston Moore as well. A lot going on this weekend for Elijah. I'm Jay. Y'all stay safe. See you Monday.